There's a very interesting and disturbing article in Vice that I would encourage all of you to read about anti-vaxxers now wanting revenge, political revenge and legal revenge. And what's extraordinarily disturbing about this is that it doesn't make any sense and it's very dangerous. And so I'm not going to tell you everything that is in this article, but the article is written by Anna Merlin. It's part of Motherboard, which is like the tech side, I guess we would say, of Vice. And there's a particular part that I want to point to here. Now, the subheading of the article says, buoyed by the purported end of a pandemic that continues to kill thousands, anti-vaccine activists now vow to punish their enemies. These people, said one, need to go to prison. There's a particular section of this article that is very scary, okay? And it reads, major anti-vaccine figures are now seizing their chance to enact what they see as justice and do a little fundraising and image burnishing in the process. Besides Big Tree's non-specific legal threats, we have Children's Health Defense, the most moneyed and influential anti-vaccine organization in the U.S., led by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. CHD is often involved in strange and frequently doomed litigation, but recently and with much fanfare, it launched a new one, an antitrust lawsuit against major news organizations and social media outlets, which they accused of conspiring to collectively censor online news about COVID. The defendants included frequent anti-vax targets like the Washington Post and BBC. The plaintiffs are a veritable who's who of people making bogus health claims, including CHD itself, Ty and Charlene Bollinger, who run websites and sell products devoted to making bogus claims about cancer and vaccines, Jim Hoft, who founded right-wing news site Gateway Pundit, and Joseph Mercola, who I've spoken about before, a longtime figure in the natural health world who's been a major funder of the anti-vax movement. They now are going to try to seek the revenge they believe they are entitled to. Now, it's very important to understand that the vindication they are asserting for themselves, they are claiming, the anti-vax are claiming they have been vindicated. Now, often, and I know that this is hard to believe, often it's as simple as, oh, you know what? We were right. They said the vaccine prevented COVID and it doesn't. Boom. Okay. Now, only if you do no investigation yourself and completely suspend all memory of what took place for years, could you believe that? In the real world, we have a more evidence-based understanding, not only of vaccines, but of COVID and all of these different things. And so, for example, when you take the claim, they told us the vaccine prevented COVID and it doesn't, you have to remember 3+ years. Has it been 3? Yeah, more than 3 years of history. The original vaccine, meant to focus in on the original variant, was very good at preventing transmission and infection. Meaning, with that original vaccine, you were actually very protected against getting COVID at all. As the virus continued to mutate, the effectiveness of the vaccine against infection diminished. This wasn't hidden. There was no cover-up. It was all over the news as soon as it became known. And over time, the vaccine became less effective, down to, most recently, from the latest studies I've seen, essentially not effective at all at preventing infection or transmission. The vaccine became primarily a tool that will prevent you from getting sick and prevent you from dying, with relatively good efficacy, arguably saving millions, if not more, lives. That doesn't vindicate the anti-vax people. The anti-vax people were saying the same thing all along. What changed are the circumstances of the virus and the vaccines. Similarly, they claim to be vindicated over side effects, myocarditis, pericarditis, except they'll never tell you the real data about the risks of those conditions from the vaccine versus the risks of those conditions from COVID. That's something they conveniently leave out. They insist that there were cover-ups about hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin and zinc and vitamin C and vitamin D and all these different things. And they say they won't even allow it to be studied. But you can look up and find endless peer-reviewed studies about all elements of that. It seems as though maintaining a good level of vitamin D, generally speaking, is a good thing for fighting off a lot of infections, and that includes COVID. That includes COVID. The zinc Z-Pack vitamin C thing does not appear to be useful. Ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine have now been studied very much extensively. Not effective on COVID. So the vindication they claim, one could only believe if you either aren't paying attention or aren't actually looking for scientific peer-reviewed data. But that doesn't mean they aren't going to ruin a lot of people's lives with these lawsuits and these calls for retribution. So read the Vice article. We'll link to it in the description to the YouTube video for this story, and we'll talk more about it as those lawsuits move forward.